Point of order, if I can. This was an item that I put on the agenda, and now we're going into a full presentation.
I am in charge.
Point of order. Point of order. I understand. Listen. Point of order. And this is the problem.
No.
We do have an order. We do have. We do have Rosenberg.
I'm calling for an immediate recess for 5 minutes.
Let me tell you. You know, it's ironic that we're having a conversation about DEI.
No. Do you have a question? For
Absolutely. It's coming. Okay. Because I think strangling the voice of a black representative at this council is ridiculous.
Oh my God, you guys, Jason Lee is in some controversy that I don't believe he wants to be in as the vice mayor of District 6 in the city of Stockton. We have to get into it because it involves money, it involves a canceled show, and it involves his performance, and it involves money, of course. But before we even get into it, listen to what Jason Lee had to say.
The investigation centers on the Wild 'N Out entertainment show held in Stockton this past May. Vice Mayor Jason Lee says he simply helped introduce the show's promoter to city staff. But during an August 4th budget meeting, rumors began circling that he may have mishandled $50,000 in city funds.
Have I ever asked you to give me any money?
No.
Okay. I've been more critical than anything else, but I appreciate your transparency. So May 29th, so a few weeks ago, I went to the city attorney and I told her that I had heard these conversations where people were plotting to make an issue out of the Wild 'N Out event to claim that I asked for $50,000 or took $50,000. When I saw the weaponization of Wild 'N Out in the press, I was extremely concerned, but it didn't shock me, because the politically motivated attacks that have been happening over the last 6 months since this interim city manager has been here has been extremely concerning.
Okay, so for those that don't know, Jason Lee, who is the founder and owner of Hollywood Unlocked, he actually started Hollywood Unlocked in 2015, basically grew the platform. Jason Lee is very successful on social media. But for those that don't know, Jason Lee is also an elected official. He is the District 6 Vice Mayor of Stockton, okay? And so as his profile on the government website says, Jason Lee is a seasoned entrepreneur, media innovator, community advocate, recently elected to represent District 6 on the Stockton City Council, known for his role as a CEO and founder of Hollywood Unlocked, a leading multimedia entertainment platform valued at over $50 million. Jason's multifaceted career spans labor relations, business development, and civic engagement, okay? So, I mean, Jason Lee has a very professional and extensive profile, right? Both in social media and in government. Okay, but guys, Jason Lee might be in trouble, all right? And let me tell you what this is. Jason Lee is at the center of some controversy over the city's use of $50,000 to prevent a comedy show's cancellation that featured him as a performer, okay? Emails obtained by ABC 10 shows that the city of Stockton paid $50,000 to Adventist Health Arena to help prevent the cancellation of a Wild 'N Out show in May. The promoters asked the arena for $150,000 in support to keep the show going on, but the arena could only find $100,000. An arena official then asked City Hall for the extra $50,000, saying that a cancellation could deter a future arena event, and it could hurt the city's economy, with at least 10 other events having been canceled this year. Some of the controversy was brought up during an audit committee meeting Monday night at City Hall. And so Jason Lee has responded to this situation, basically saying that this is a political witch hunt, proved somehow that the vice mayor conspired with city staff to go to the bank accounts to give $50,000 to a brand that lost $170,000 on top of the $50,000 of an approved fund that had been used in the past. Jason Lee also says there was also an opportunity to silence the voice of staff that are bringing forth serious concerns with respects to internal controls that are out of control. Now, let me ask you guys a question, okay? Because like I said, Jason Lee being as successful as he has been with Hollywood Unlocked, right? He's got this position. He's also a performer within the show. Is there an issue of ethics? That's the question, guys. That the money is being allocated here, that this show had already been canceled, and because Jason Lee, it sounds like he happens to be the one performing there, this might be an issue, right? Now, to Jason's defense, before you answer this question about ethical and money and stuff like that, I think it's important to know that Jason Lee in the city of Stockton, while he's having these council meetings, I mean, he is bringing up some very pointed issues. He wrote on his Facebook last week, and this is dated June 30th, last week's city council meeting wasn't just business as usual. It was a pivotal moment in the fight for truth, transparency, and equity in Stockton. When I raised concerns about how diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, is being quietly dismantled in our city, I expected an honest conversation. Instead, I witnessed a presentation that, in my opinion, was being watered down and potentially minimized by the mayor and staff. Every council member has a right to ask questions, especially when public trust and taxpayer dollars are at stake. The right was challenged, but I stood firm, and I will continue to stand firm. This, my friends, I want you to watch this clip because it got heated when they talked about DEI. Let's go.
Item 15.1 is a discussion on DEI. I just want to point a couple things out because I was the one with Councilmember Dan Wright, two white people obviously, who started this discussion, and we actually at that time it was racial justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion, and that was what we had brought forth through the Ledge Committee. As we went through that process and then brought it forth on that July 2022 meeting, that is, I made the motion for that. It was really important that we do this, obviously, because we felt as if, you know, it was an issue in our city, and we needed to make changes. I will say that as you go through the resolution, though, we were told that there was no funding, and that's why we said we were going to actively seek out funding for this. So this position that you are in was created in July 25th of 2023, and it says formally titled Assistant Director of Emergency Services.
Okay.
So I'm trying to understand how these things happen, because I saw it and it said the position was created in 1957. I said, who was thinking about this in 1957? But then I realized as I went down that it says it was a change. It was a position that was already started. Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Reed, do you want to?
Point of order, if I can. This was an item that I put on the agenda, and now we're going into a full presentation.
I am in
hold
charge.
On. Point of order. Point of order. I understand. Listen. Point of order. And this is the problem.
No.
We do have an order. We do have what we do have. Rosenberg.
I'm calling for an immediate recess for 5 minutes.
Let me tell you. You know, it's ironic that we're having a conversation about DEI.
No. Do you have a question for
Absolutely. It's coming. Okay. Because I think strangling the voice of a black representative at this council is ridiculous. City Attorney, my question that I was asking when I said point of order or point of information, each council member, to my understanding, has the ability equally here, although we're not chairing the meeting, to call in question a decision or how the meeting is being ran or conducted and have the right to object. Is that correct?
Yes, under Rosenberg's Rules of Order, which was adopted by this council for use, there's a section entitled Order that says the proper interruption would be point of order, and the chair would ask the interrupter to state his or her point, and then appropriate points, and just as by way of example, appropriate points of order they relate to anything that would not be considered appropriate conduct of the meeting. For example, if the chair moved on to vote on a motion that permits debate without allowing discussion or debate, then that would be subject to point of order.
So when I made a point of order, what was the proper thing to be done at that time in acknowledging my motion, or my request?
So the first step would be for the presiding officer to ask the interrupter, which would have been yourself in that scenario, to state your point.
And that didn't happen because we went to recess after I was yelled at in public. So my question then is, what recourse do we have as council members when we're in a situation where we have a point of order and are trying to advocate for the needs of our constituents and we're not allowed to?
Anytime that any council member wishes to be acknowledged and ask a question or participate in the discussion, that you're supposed to push your button, I don't know what else to call it, but your requesting button, so that the mayor, as the presiding officer, can acknowledge you and allow you your opportunity to speak.
It was pushed. Okay. So can I state my point of order now?
If you're calling for point of order, then
Point of
yes,
order.
and then the mayor will
Point
ask.
of order. So I went to the training provided by the city twice now that taxpayers have paid for. I heard the staff presentation. She asked if there were questions. The mayor then went into a history lesson and then called on staff to continue talking. That's not the order that I just heard you say, and that's why I said point of order. I pushed the button. I wasn't acknowledged, so I said it out loud, and then I was sent to the detention. So I'm just trying to understand now, at what part in the process are we going to get on track with how we do business here and stop playing around? Because I have all night, and I will not be undermined and disrespected in public when I've told people repeatedly in private how I have felt little boyed and treated as one of the governing leaders of this city on the topic of DEI. So I now would like to get into the discussion. Since we've heard the history lesson, we've seen the staff presentation, I want to have a conversation about it. That I intended it for it to go one way, but now we're going to have a full open discussion. I came to find out that there were changes being made to the DEI work that you were doing. This is, you've submitted your resignation to the city, correct?
I'm just here to do the presentation.
The reason why I asked the question is you talked during the presentation about we're doing the work, we're doing the work. So I was going to ask as part of this conversation to have updates. Would you be here to give an update in 60 days?
I'm just here to do the
Okay.
presentation.
So let me ask this question. Were you aware, did you have control over the DEI budget as the person over the DEI department?
Yes,
Did you know about the spending of the $40,000 for food?
I was not aware of that.
Okay. And were you aware that staff took funding from the DEI budget to pay for contractors' contract?
I was told that that money was going to be allocated towards a different contract.
Okay. And the last question I have is, was that contract in any way to help us diversify the city of Stockton?
I don't know the answer to that.
Thank you. I want to be clear to staff that DEI, from what I'm hearing from all my colleagues, unless they all want to hit their button and say in front of the public that it's not a priority, is a priority, and that it's a real priority, not a performative priority. So when the work is done and it comes back to us, that we understand the real heart and spirit going into ensuring that we're working to make this city staff and our city hall reflect the community that we serve. Thank you.
Jason Lee does not back down when he challenges some of these issues, right? And so I think that that's great. Could this then be why he might have a target on his back? Or is this investigation about the money? But it looks like this is going to continue to get forward to a much bigger investigation. The investigation further says that the email shows that the interim city manager had asked the economic development director last week for clarification about the payment and raised questions about oversight and how the funds were used. A memo from Stockton's vice president called for an immediate legal response against the city's interim city manager and several allegations. Lee sent the memo to the city attorney on July 31st. In it, he alleged that interim city manager Steve Colangelo was involved in retaliation against executive leadership staff, possible corruption, Brown Act violations, and disrupting city operations. ABC 10 is continuing to gather details on the situation and its fallout. Again, for those that don't know who Jason Lee is, before entering into politics, he is a Stockton native, rising from a union representative for the SEIU to staff director of Kaiser Permanente Division, and later serving as a labor representative for the California Nurses Association, according to his biography. And then don't forget also that he started the entertainment business Hollywood Unlocked in 2015. Again, an entertainment news media company that focuses on a mix of pop culture and politics. He expanded the industry, launching the Jason Lee Show in 2023, where he discusses pop culture with celebrity guests. 23, Jason Lee announced that he was running for Stockton's 6th district, which covers areas of South Stockton. He focused his campaign on public safety issues, economic equality, expanding access to youth programs, according to his bio. So I guess the question then becomes why is he involved in this kind of controversy pertaining to money? Why is he in here? And again, The controversy is over the city's use of $50,000 to prevent a comedy show cancellation that featured him as a performer. So, of course, would that, given that his background is in entertainment, would that give preferential? And then the fact that he's also performing there, is there an ethical issue there? Would it have been different if he had approved the money, but he didn't? That if he had a say in where this money goes or approved it, whatever it may be, but he didn't actually perform in it. I mean, let me know what you guys think in the comments. How do you guys feel about this whole thing? Is it a witch hunt? A probe? I'll see you guys on the next one. Rabbits out.